First things first, the audio might sound a little different. Do tell me if the audio is going to be too loud or not, because I was messing around with setting up a Wii yesterday to the capture card, but I had to change some settings here and there, including the audio ones. So I hope it's not too loud still. Actually, it's the first time I can barely hear the background noise, funnily enough. So I guess we'll see how that turns out, but I might have to mesh. The sound audio sounds too loud nowadays sounds in the game. Oh. I can slide it down a little bit and see what it does. Yeah, it's going to be dependent on how loud the voices are going to be, so I guess we'll see there. But hello, good afternoon, hope you're all doing well. Well, let's get the beginning of the finale for this underway, I suppose. At least I'm assuming it's the finale, considering it's title drop part 1. So, but yeah, I'm gonna have to see how the audio plays out here. Also, I need my book. That one. Yes. Alright. Hopefully this is not going to be a 3-hour segment. My voice is not going to like that. I guess we'll see. Let's first see how the audio works here. I'm not hearing anything quite now, so... Aoko not hung up, but the line remained silent. Set down the receiver, quickly put on her mantle and wait for the entrance. Moving her injured body by sheer willpower alone. Finale hype, question mark. Yeah, after... when did I start this? September? Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for resubscribing now. Along the way she passed, turned to Soja and looked directly at him.
Aoko ni nanika attan da na.
Could be a little bit louder, I think. Could be a little bit louder. Aoko's in trouble, isn't she? Alice hesitated for a moment. Before brushing aside her anxiety and grabbing his hand.
Shizuki-kun, 一緒に来て.
Saw a notification here. You didn't hear a notification sound. I heard the notification sound, but I... Actually, that's probably because this one is turned down, isn't it? Yeah, it might be because this one is turned down. Is there a shortcut for every... Yeah, like the wares, but I'm not... Yeah, like they do something, but... Not the ones I need for this, specifically. Because these are extra states that I added in after the fact. Voice is quite a bit louder than you. Shizuki, come with me.
待ってくれ。一緒にってどこに?
Yeah, I see it spiked almost into the yellow there. Or almost into the red there, I should say. Wait, where are we going?
間教会まで。Aokoの方はエイリ神父にお願いするしかないから。
To Ida Church, we need to ask Father Airi for help.
間教会って
Why are we
病院の
going to the
横にあ
church?
る。
It's not going to go well. Chat, there is one rule in the Nesuverse, and it is do not trust the church or any father. Next thing he's going to say is Yoro Kobe, and everything goes to shit. Ida Church, it's next to the hospital, isn't it?
そう。知っているのなら問題ないわね。説明する手間も省けたわ。
Also, the thing is with this audio filter that I now have on it, it might not do the little crackle thingy, so I guess we'll have to see if that works or not. Good, you know it. I'll save you some time explaining. Alice not to mention I made her way down the tree-lined path. She was clearly determined, but the look in her eyes betrayed her pain.
アリス、連絡をするなら電話は?
I think it sounds better, actually. It might just be me. Alice, wait, shouldn't we call that? Soju asked Alice, whose grip on his hands was light but unyielding.
教会の人にならもう知らせた。
The church already knows.
もしかして病院のことを言っているなら、それこそ無駄よ。ハイヤーなんて言うけど、空を飛ぶわけでもないし。今は助けを呼ぶより、助けに行かないと間に合わない。
And if you're talking about the hospital, no need. It's quicker for us to go and help. First to go and help and then call it for a car. They can fly. Elsa thought of everything. She turned to the dimension and lightly snapped her fingers. In response, a window opened and countless starlings took flight.
一番隊は索敵。 2番隊と3番隊は現場に向かって応急処置を。在庫切れになってもいいわ。
Bird up. Group 1 search for the enemy. Groups 2 and 3 proceed to the scene and administer first aid. Haste is
まだ
paramount.
生きているなら青子の心臓を止めないで。
If Aoko is still alive, do not let her heart stop. Alice commanded the bombs
しず
firmly.
きくんは裏庭から青子の自転車を持ってきて。
Shizuki, fetch Aoko's bicycle from the rear courtyard. Sojo let slip his comfort as he thought of that thing. The custom-made red bicycle. When he was cleaning the incinerator, Aoko had verbally assaulted him for nearly scratching it.
いいけど、どうするつもりなんだ、アリスは。
Okay, but what's the plan?
ここにいるより教会にいた方がしずきくんは安全よ。それに私も急がないといけない。
You've been safer at the church than here. I need to
しずきく
hurry.
ん、
Oh.
2人乗りできる。
Can you take us both, Shizuki? Well, Sojo had seen people riding tandem and he was confident he could imitate them. He still wasn't quite certain if he could trust a bicycle with his life. Moreover, its frame was so light he was unsure it could support both of their weights.
二人乗りってことは、アリスが後ろに乗るのか？
Wait, you mean you want to ride in the back?
できないならいいわ。
If it's too much, then I don't need your help. Alice turned away as if to snub and then began walking. Unfortunately for Sojo, I was known as on her bad side.
いや、そういう意味じゃないんだ。アリスとはイメージが合わなかったから。
Hey, don't get me wrong. I just never expected you to ask me to do something like that. Ignoring his pleas to continue briskly toward the woods. There was no way she was going to ride the bike now. Sensing a stubborn streak, he desperately called out to her.
待った、今のはこっちが悪かった。すぐに持ってくるから、怒るのはつけにしておいてくれ。
Still hurt a little loudy thingy there. I take it back, I'm sorry. I'll go get it right now so you can take your anger out of me later. Alice stopped. As soon as he saw her stop, he hurried to the rear courtyard. Grabbed the key from where it was hanging and used it to unlock Aoko's bicycle. By the time Sojo brought her back to the front of the mansion, Alice was continuing towards the forest.
アリスの性格、なんとなくつかめてきたな。
I think I finally figured you out, Alice. Muttering to himself, he straddled the bike. He rested his foot on the pedal, it felt light but sturdy. Man has never sit on a proper bike before, has he? Confident the bike would support his weight and all as he began pedaling.
アリス、
Alice. She turned as he called out to her, before shooting him a piercing glare.
行こう。後ろの荷台に乗ってくれ。でもクッションがないから痛いと思う。辛かったら言ってくれ。止めるから。
Did they really use the stock gate sound effect for this, huh? Oh no. A few years ago it was an anime, and they kept using that sound every single episode. It started becoming pretty funny in a certain way. Come on, hop on the back. No cushion though, so it won't be a comfy ride. Let me know if it's too uncomfortable.
私は大丈夫よ。しずきくんが嫌じゃなければの話だけど。
I'll be fine, worry about yourself. You had hit the nail on the head. Alice definitely held a grudge over the small things.
そういうことなら問題ないよ。アリスが後ろにいてくれるのは嬉しい。それで、行き先は間教会でいいんだな。
If there's an issue, then there is no issue. I'm happy to give you a ride. We're going to Ida Church, right? Unabashed and undaunted, he plowed on. His tone seemed to ease Alice's mood. She nodded calmly and took a seat on the luggage rack above the rear tire.
手を回すけど、私が触れても平気。
I'm going to hold on to you, okay? You don't mind touching me, do you?
大丈夫だよ。体力があるのはさっき証明しただろ。
Why wouldn't I? I'm tougher than I look. No, that's not what she means, you idiot. Alice suddenly wrapped her arms around Sojiro. When she held on tightly enough, he gripped the handlebars.
よかった。
Good, he said quietly.
何が良かったの？
What's good? Sojiro turned to her, an ambitious expression on his face, and then began pedaling vigorously. He let go of the brakes and the bicycle hurtled down Shirinosuke's steep incline. Shirinosuke still makes me stumble. Quite a mouthful. Surprised by the sudden speed, Alice gasped. Alice long enough for a ride. Go to horny jail, you! And closed Sojiro tighter. She almost protested, but she stopped when she saw the serious expression on Sojiro's face. Instead, she decided to tighten the grip. Under the night sky, a young girl had put her faith in a young boy. Where are you you're supposed to ship here, by the way. Faster than a roller coaster, the bicycle hurtled toward Misaki Station. Around the station there was no sight of cars or people. Well, the town slept under a snowy blanket, 2 people were racing like the wind. Well, he fell, the boy said.
本当によかった。二人乗りが思ったより簡単で。
Phew, riding tandem is way easier than I thought. But he was alone in his relief. It was the first bicycle ride together, and they spent it speeding down an empty highway. The boys' words were lost in the howling wind, unfortunately. In spite of the late hour, there was still lights on in the church. Originally, the only light at this time of night came from the entrance to the sleepless hospital, ever vigilant and ever ready to receive patients. However, this was a quiet town with a little nightlife. The hospital saw perhaps 1 emergency patient per night. However, the hospital saw perhaps 1 emergency patient per night. However, and it was not equipped to handle tonight's whole patient. It was a little bit before 1 o'clock in the morning. In the morning? We call it night still, but sure. Leaving the bicycle outside, the two headed into the church. With its snow-covered roof, the church looked like it was wearing a white hat that lit up the darkness. In the entrance stood a tall shadow.
Kuonji-san.
Miss Kuonji. Well, you're not Kirei, so that's already one good thing, I guess. The man's voice was placid. Dressed in a long coat, he had been waiting for Alice.
エイリ神父、青子は
Father Eri, is Aoko?
ユイカが見ています。私が駆けつけた時には手遅れでした。
Yuika standing to her now. By the time I got to the scene, there were orders already.
青崎の家に伝令を願いたいのですが。
Yeah, the little audio garble is still there. Which makes me wonder if it's just the filter or if it's just a game. And then again, Shadow last week also said that he could hear it in Donkey Kong, so... Maybe just a capture card then. I'd like to notify your family.
青子はそれを望まないわ。それに、あちらも今は城に囚われているそうです。今夜の相手は、真っ先に青子の祖父の動きを封じたようですから。
Aoko wouldn't want it. Besides, I believe they're trapped in the castle. Toka seems to have tied down their grandfather too. To exchange pleasantries. Soji did not move from the foot of the stairs.
おや、そちらは。
Oh, who was this? Though the father seemed calm, his words had an edge to them. As if to protect Soju from his gaze, I'll step between them.
彼は青子の使い魔。契約はまだなされていないけれど。
This is Aoko's familiar, though the contract hasn't been fulfilled yet.
使い魔ってアリス。
Familiar? Soju was about to complain, but Alice shot at him a fiery glare. That all but said, just shut up and play along.
そうですか。そのような申告はありませんでしたが、届けが遅れたのは不問としましょう。
I see, this is the first I've heard of it, but I'll let it slide.
外部の魔術師と交戦中でしたからね。あなたたちはその撃退を最優先にした。
Why is he doing the glasses thing? I mean, you're both in conflict with an outside mage after all. Let you take priority. Alice nodded in thanks.
では通ります。彼の同行を許可しなさい。
I'll be going in now. Let him enter too.
ご自由に。私はこれより朝廷に向かいます。管理者が変わるのなら、両教会への資料を用意しなければいけませんので。
He's most welcome, and we'll begin preparations for mediation. If a change of administrators is imminent, I have to prepare documents for both parties.
ああ、留守中は律香に任せてありますから、必要なものがあれば彼女に。
I'm leaving things to Ritsuka in my absence, so send any questions her way. As if passing the baton, Father Area exited the church. Soju took two full steps back to give him a wide berth. The priest had a dignified air about him. To put it bluntly, he was strikingly beautiful. Straight nose, glistening lips, not a single imperfection on his mildly effeminate face. But it not only as far as his appearance, his manner lacked any hint of softness or grace. Just by looking at him, you could tell he was dependable, like tempered steel, despite being somewhat unapproachable. The priest disappeared silently into the night, the darkness of his coat overpowering the moonlight. And now Soju watched him leave.
なんか 仙人みたいな人だな。
He's like some kind of sage from the folktales. In his own way, Sojiro has expressed affection. For some reason, Father Aries' distant tone made him feel nostalgic. Alice gives Sojiro a deadly stare.
気を許さないで。彼は教会の人間よ。
Don't let your guard down, he's with the church.
私たちを監視する側だけど、今回は彼の手を借りるしかなかっただけ。
His job is to monitor us, but this time we had to ask for his help.
許されるなら、真っ先に消えてほしい人間だから。
If it were allowed, I'd make him disappear from the face of the earth. Yeah, just to say, the church and the Mace Association don't really get along too well. Like, they tolerate each other's presence, but, it's a strenuous relationship at best. Hookers ringing the air, Alice placed her head on the doors of the chapel. They were twice so high and who knows how heavy. They didn't look like she could open them anytime soon. Sojiro climbed the stairs 3 at a time and helped Alice push the towering doors inward. Audio seems fine. The dim light of the chapel brought in the familiar scent of burning oil. Jeff, what the hell is that word? Aesthetical interior was breathtaking? Yes, Master, use simpler words, please. The tall ceiling, the stained glass windows on every wall. It all felt intended to illustrate the presence of the Holy Spirit within those chambers. A word that means churchy. I see. I see. Like the foyer in the Kyonji estate, there was not a single heater. The bitter cold made the chapel feel more severe.
あっちゃん、こっちよ。
Ellie, over here. The gentle... Ellie, really? The gentle voice echoed through the chapel, incongruous to its surroundings. It was the voice of a woman.
リツカさん、奥。
Ritsuka, is that you? Alice made her way past the rows of pews towards the front altar. Sojiro closed the large doors and hurried after her.
早かったわね。これから迎えに行こうと思ったのに。
I like how we had pretty much the last 2 chapters and all of a sudden the game is like, oh hey, have these 2 new characters that you've never seen before. You got it fast, I was just thinking about coming to see you.
使える足があったから。
I had
後ろの彼。
a lot of powerful legs.
足って。あれ、あなた。
Legs? Oh, you mean him?
お、
Sojiro assured himself, surprising the woman. They stared intently at each other, wondering what the other was doing here.
知り合い。
You two know each other?
ああ、うん。まずいことに知り合い。
Yes, although I didn't expect to see him here.
宗十郎さん、引っ越したって話だけど、もしかしてあっちゃんのところに下宿してるの？
Sojiro, when you said you moved, you meant you were staying at Ali's? Sojiro nodded. Alice went visibly sour at this unexpected development.
どういうこと？しずきくん、リツカさんとはどういう関係？
What are you talking about, Ritsuka? How do you know each other?
関係って、
Well,
お魚屋さんでしょっちゅう割引してもらったり、
you always give me a discount at the fish market.
荷物持ちを頼んでみたり、
Help me with my bags, drink tea with me.
たまにお茶飲んだりする主婦の友みたいな。
He's like every housewife's best friend.
意味がわかりません。リツカさん結婚していないでしょ。
That doesn't make any sense. You're not married, Ritsuka. Needless to say, Sojiro is also not a housewife's best friend, and all suggested. Bit of a more urgent matters at hand.
うわぁ、そこを突っ込むのか。あっちゃん、私にだけは一切妥協がないのはどうかと思うの。
Ouch. You had to go there, huh? I can't slip anything by you, can I, Ellie?
リツカさんの場合、どこまで本気かわからないから。おかしなところは全部追求しておかないといけないだけよ。
Well, what do you expect? I never know when you're being serious, so I have to question every weird thing you say.
あら素敵。仲のいい姉妹みたいね、私たち。
Look at us, we must have been separated at birth.
じゃあ、その信頼に応えて本当のこと言うと、彼とは町内会の顔見知りよ。スパイ行為とかそういうんじゃないし、そもそもそんな器用な人じゃないでしょ、宗十郎さんは。
Okay, I'll tell you the truth. I know him from the neighborhood association. He's not a spy or anything. Not that he could be. I mean, you know, just look at him.
本当？
Is this true? Alice stepped straight at Sojiro, to let him know she was mad at him for hiding this from her.
本当だ。魚屋でバイトしてる時に知り合った
I
人
mean,
だ。
how is he supposed to know that you know her? Yes, I know her from a part-time job at the fish
前
market.
に親切にしてもらったんで、お礼にイワシを1匹サービスしたら、それ以来ごひいきに。
She was nice to me, so I gave her a free sardine to pursue her to come back.
そうそう。商店街で買い物してれば嫌でも宗十郎さんとは顔見知りになるわ。
Exactly. Everyone who shops downtown knows Sojiro.
あっちゃんも怒るぐらいなら買い物に来ればいいのに。密かな商店街のアイドルです、彼。
If it bothers you so much, Ali, go see for yourself. He's a secret stud of the shopping district. Don't go call him a secret stud. That sounds wrong.
アイドルとは人気者という意味で、値切りやすいかもって意味じゃないような。
She means I'm popular. Not that my prices are easy to hammer down like some nails on the wall. His apparent popularity would have to be questioned all the time. Collecting herself, Alice focused on adorning the recesses of the church.
律香さんの事情は知りませんが、彼は青子の連れです。
I don't know what's going on with you, Ritsuka, but she's with Aoko now.
その他に説明はいりますか？
Aoko was sketching something. A reaction has been blocked because of woman hate. Well, I guess saying the word MILF is now hating women. Alright then, Twitch, alright then. I don't think I agree with that, but sure. And the explanation will have to wait.
ああ、やっぱりそういうことなのね。ま、言いたいことはいろいろあるけど、今はそれどころじゃないし。
It all makes sense now. So much to say in so little time, but we can get it later.
ええ、了解したわ。他ならぬあっちゃんの頼みだし、特殊な例だけど、彼はこちらで保護しましょう。
You know, I'm starting to get the feeling that this game is going to end with more questions than is going to be answered, isn't it? Fine, for you, Ellie, I'll make an exception, and offer him our protection. Alice nodded and began walking to the door.
アリス、
Alice,
ダメよ、宗十郎さん。
stay, Sojiro. Sojiro was about to follow Alice. Risuka stepped in his way.
あなたは行ってはいけません。彼女たちに任せなさい。
You need to stay here. Leave this to the girls. She asserted bluntly. Meanwhile, Alice had reached the door and further into the chapel.
行ってはいけないって。
But why?
あなたのためよ。青子の容体は普通の人が見ていいものじゃない。気分を悪くするだけ。
Damn, Aoko got mangled, didn't she? It's for your own good. No normal person should see Aoko should say she's in. It will be too much for you.
それとも嫌な思いをしてもいいくらい青子が心配なのかしら。
Unless, of course, she's so worried about it that you don't care about that. Serge was not able to give an immediate answer. And it finally hit him just how bad of a state Aoko must be in. Based on Alice's condition when he found her, he intuited that Aoko's injuries might be even worse. He tried to imagine the expression in that state, but he could not. Her
青
expression
崎
in that
相
state.
手に心配なんかしまI
I never worry about Aozaki. Literally, I'd never been worried about her before. Not really.
でも会いに行くのね。
I can't stop you, can I?
はい。
Nope. He answered her reflexively. Aoko sided the boy's naivete, but nonetheless stepped aside.
どうぞ行ってらっしゃい。
Go on then.
アリスさんが使ったドアから入って4番目の部屋よ。
Through the door Alice used, fourth room in.
今一番取り込んでる頃だからゆいちゃんの邪魔だけはしないように。
Things are critical right now, so stay out of Yui's way. Sojiro thanked him and went after Alice, leaving Risuka Suse, the self-proclaimed everybody's friendliest neighbor, alone.
さてゆいかあたりなら止めるんでしょうけど、ま、私は宗十郎さんの味方だし、傷つく男の子とか大好物だし。
Yuka will probably stop him, but somebody's got to be in Sojiro's corner. I have a soft spot for broken boys.
少々スパルタと自覚しておりますが、これも親切な姉心と思って宗十郎さんには後悔していただきましょう。
I know I'm playing rough with him, but it's for his own good. I'll let him say, I say let him learn to regret. She spoke with force, but her words echoed aimlessly around the chapel. With a sigh, she shrugged her shoulders and made the sign of a cross in a rather impious manner. The sound of Sojiro's footsteps grew fainter. It's like a hesitation left a pain in her heart, and not because he did not look back at her, but because he was choosing to ignore the primal fear inside him. Well, gore warning maybe coming up? I don't know. How bad can it be? An elderly man once said, an animal's death and a human's are two different things. You may think they are the same, but they're different to their core. As I've known the difference since the dawn of man. An animal's corpse, be it a pig's or a deer's, is different. If the swing of an axe or a machete is violent, then so must the human corpse be. Therefore, before you see one with your own eyes, you should at least understand it with your ears. Listen closely, Sojiro. When a person dies, blood flows like a crimson river. It's too much to bear. There's Aoko over there, and up there, yeah, probably. Perhaps because he was not used to the stone path beneath his feet. Sojiro's mind wandered back to the words he heard as a child. The instant he opened the door, there was a palpable change in the air. The room was small, with only a simple bed and small wooden dresser. And there on the bed was lying on the side. Why? Aoko was lying on the side. Turning to her was the woman he had just seen in the chapel, Ritsuka. No, she only looked a lot like her. Why is the blood in the black counter and why is it disappearing? Her eyes were closed and her garments were covered in blood. He had met her maybe once before. Yurike Suse, a nun at the church. She was doing something to... Aoko. I mean, it has to be. Like, why would you just censor the word right now? Yurika held a pair of scissors and some thread. Her hands moved delicately yet quickly as through playing an organ. She's playing a different kind of organ. Her movements were precise as if flawlessly reading sheet music. One by one, the supply of bandages diminished. Bandages recently applied to the wounds were quickly replaced with fresh ones. Gaze was placed everywhere to try and cope with the amount of blood. Once the white cloth was now dyed red and discarded, the dressing scattered around the floor resembled roses. In a wilted rose garden and played her organ. The scene looked unlike any reality Sojiro knew. It was clear why the air had changed. There was a savage odor in the room. Probably iron, huh? Even though he was experiencing it for the first time, he knew what it was. The smell burned his lungs. He could not bring himself to look at the bed. Fighting his feelings, his eyes refused to move there. He noticed Alice next to the bed. Ever expressionless, she looked like a statue next to a grave. Except she was trembling ever so slightly. It could have been from fear, anxiety, rage, or a combination of the three. Before I lay alive on the verge of death. But whose life? It was difficult to tell with only a glance. Some sort of puppet covered in bandages, perhaps. Her hair should be beautiful, but it fell flat, disheveled, perhaps with short breaths, her chest convulsing up and down. Despite her, okay. Facetious though the thought was, Sojiro recalled a rodeo machine on the roof of the department store. Ah. The painkillers and anesthesia could not have been working. New bandage was so crimson in seconds. Her fingernails bit into the sheets. Her face twisted in agony. Anesthesia would not be enough, so if she was still alive she must be conscious too. It worried him that no one seemed concerned about this. In this state she would surely lose her mind before her life. In short, the boy never wanted to see anything like this ever again. Bedsheet should be white, not red, with every blink the color deepened. So he was finally forced to accept that the bleeding mess in the center of the room, it was her. He felt the blood surge in his veins. And speaking of the bed, the snip of the scissors, the gasps of agony, it all faded. All he could hear was his own pounding heartbeat. The smell of the blood she choked up sent a wave of nausea through him. His knees abandoned him. And it all was perfectly understandable. His brain had to shut his consciousness off to protect itself. The mind could only take so much reality. He would give anything to never see something like that again.
Aoko ちゃんは全部わかっているんだね。
Silly me, you know everything, don't you, Aoko?
自分だけのことじゃなくて、
Not just
この
about
後に
you.
起きることも、何が残って何が残らないのかも、全部まっすぐに受け止めている。
But what happens after this too? What survives? What won't? You can see it all.
それでも自分であり続けられるということは、とても強いことなんだよ。
And through it all, you never lose sight of who you are. You're so strong. And on she went. I kind of liked her smile, but she just had to go and say the one thing I wish she hadn't. The last day of middle school seemed so long ago. As the ephemeral cherry blossom petal danced around, my little dream is crushed. I never really considered myself strong. At least, until I began remembering those words from time to time.
青崎は分かってると思ってた。
I thought you of all people who'd understand Aozaki.
いや、きっと分かってるんだな。だから、そこが強いんだろうね。
I mean, of course you do, that's what makes you strong. And lately, an idiot who says things like that at a bit in my life. I knew I always judge people more harshly than those around me, but to have someone I'd only known for a few days pointed out was like a stab in the chest. Not only that, the words sounded so similar, they made me so angry I couldn't see straight. Only him and one other person have ever said anything like that to me. Then again, I suppose my sister said the same without actually saying it. You're different from us. But me being me, I took it as a curse rather than a compliment. My actions, my choices, my morals, all the good and bad I've done. When it's all said and done, am I really any better than anyone else? Of course I am. I'll never sacrifice myself for those around me. You just had to call me a strong... you just had to call me strong, true to myself. Or you just had to call me strong, true to myself, in spite of how alone, stubborn and ridiculous I know I can be. When I was younger, it only confused me. I mean, I don't know any other way, I am who I am. The frustrating fact is, I simply don't have the courage to give up. So why? Why do I get treated special for doing what comes naturally? And sunlight stared her. Maybe it was the pain from having her whole body held together by arcane threads. But Aoko felt like she had a silly dream. Ah. She gulped out through her painful parched throat. Grey rays of light shone through a small window, bringing her back to reality. Yeah, I feel itchy. Unable to bear it, Aoko attempted to roll over. Except she could only move her right arm. She tried lifting her arm, but she couldn't feel anything past her elbow. When she stopped concentrating on the bandaged arm, it fell to the bed like a stone. Okay. Aoko took in the surroundings, moving only her eyes. Evidently she'd been asleep in his bed. Unable to feel certain parts of her body, she felt like a robot. The room was tiny and undecorated. It was like an apartment without a tenant. Judging by the good repair, she guessed that she was in the Ida church. Outside it seemed closer to noon than morning. Clouds filled the sky as usually, dulling the sun's rays. At least she thought that it could be enough to melt the snow outside. And then finally she noticed the figure of a girl. Next to her bed, Alice Conji was sitting in a chair, unmoving. Good morning, Alice. She called out to her, all too casually. It was more difficult to talk than she thought. Alice was a typical stoic self. Although Aoko did notice a glimpse of concern in her eyes. You haven't slept, Alice. I can tell from your poor complexion.
努力はしたわ。けど、瞳子さんに飲まされたものが解毒されるまで眠れそうにないの。
I tried, but I can't tell substance Toko made me swallow leave my system.
半端な痛みは、こういう時に生ぬるいわね。
That sure is a saying. I suppose my lukewarm discomfort is a fart in a windstorm compared to what you're going through. Alice's uncharacteristically vulgar comment helped Aoko feel a little bit more like her usual self. She felt reassured having a comrade in arms by her side instead of a concerned neighbor. So, she got you too. I can guess I would win, but fill me in on the details. Aoko remained horizontal as she spoke with a cool tone. Actually, I kind of wonder what happened about Aoko, really. Despite Aoko's condition, Alice granted her request. After all, they had known each other for 2 years. Alice knew exactly the kind of anesthesia Aoko Aozaki needed right now. Alice Conji battles with Aoko Aozaki ended in the former's victory. The famous troll was a special familiar even among fairy tale monsters. While lacking the incredible reality warping abilities of Flat Stark, its sheer mass, durability and strength was second to none. Toko's rune magecraft was rendered completely ineffective by its stone armor. In all fairness to Toko, most mages would not stand a chance against a bridge giant. The reason lay in the mystic's body. As a general law of magecraft, a mystic will lose to a stronger older mystic. The history of the bridge giant dated back to well over 1,000 years. Its origins could be traced to the 1st century when Britannia was conquered by the Romans. Conversely, despite having roots dating back to the Age of Gods, runes had unfortunately been lost to time. Rune magecraft was a little bit more than an attempt to revive and reuse a dead art. However, monsters from fairy tales like the troll were different. They lived on the hands of Elskonji. The magical world was vast, but one could probably count one hand the number of magecraft that still functioned after being chanted into existence a millennia ago, as Alice's boys did. In contrast, Toku the rune user was only about 2 decades old. Carving a rune only took a moment. There was no way a quick spell could defeat the personification of London Bridge in Alice's homeland. That being said, a beast had a bit that surpassed even those from fairy tales. Beowulf, the Golden Beast. It all seemed absurd to compare a small and relatively powerless wolf to a towering stone giant. The famous troll's attacks were earthquaking. A direct hit from its 50-ton strikes would smash anything to paste. But a glancing blow would still create mincemeat. And yet the beast had attacked head-on and torn right through it. The wolf's fur bristled, and the creature metamorphosized like liquid. It was a breathtaking display. The wolf howled till the moon as if in joy, and streaked forth like a bolt of golden light. In an instant the duel was decided. The radiant spear of a wolf flew straight through the giant's chest and sank its teeth into his heart. The troll exploded. Streams of stony missile rained down. Luminous fur scattered in the wind. Two mystics dispersed without a trace and returned to whence they came. The curtain fell on a battle straight out of mythology. They are among the rubble of the fairy tale monster. It was the Golden Wolf, standing like a flame. What came after could barely be described as a battle. It was more like the slaughter of defeated pawns. The wolf leapt on Alice, disemboweling her with ease. His claws cut through the protective walls on Alice's coat like a hot knife through butter. The Golden Wolf. This wolf, which understood human speech, could only be the magical creature known as the werewolf. Werewolves are the forest people of Eastern Europe, Western Europe, with origins far more ancient than the fabricated vampire legends of the continent. However, none were known to have golden coats. It was said that the most elite werewolf bloodlines boasted silver fur. Silver werewolves were pack leaders, and werewolves of that caliber were considered phantasmal, rather than merely magical creatures. But a golden werewolf was superior to even that, and so it transcended human knowledge. Alice Conji's ploys were among the ultimate mystics that have been created by humankind. Therefore the Golden Wolf could only have been a mystic born of the planet. When the celestial body has been active for millions, even billions of years, occasionally a miraculous droplet of creation spills over into its current world, into our current world. This mystic had to be over 3,000 years old. A human mage, no, any mage living in the current magical paradigm, would be helpless against a Golden Wolf. Not even inferiority would stand a chance of defeating it. Which meant that this werewolf was Aoko's and Alice's worst nightmare.
そう
I see.
アリスがお手上げの相手だものね。私がどうにかできるはずもなかったわけだ。
If it was too much for even you, Alice, I would have never stood a chance.
でも要は魔術でなければいいのよね。
But that means non-magical attack should work on it, right? But are we going to pull out a gun?
テムズの動力は魔力だけど、テムズのパンチは純粋な衝撃でしょ。当たりさえすればぺしゃんこじゃないの。
Flames is powered by magical energy, but isn't this punch just raw force? One hit and it's game over.
残念だけど
It's not that simple, unfortunately.
あれ基本は狼の姿なだけで状況によって形を変えるわ。テムズの腕を受け止めた時は大猿みたいになっていたし。
His base form was a wolf, but he can transform to adapt to the situation. He took the famous punch by turning into a giant ape-like thing.
機関銃やロケットで狙ってもかわされるか体の硬い生き物に変化して防ぐんじゃないかしら。
Never mind, I guess we're not cutting him down. Even if he used a machine gun or a rocket launcher, he'd probably transform into something to defend himself.
地球上の生き物なら何にでも変われるってことか。
So so he can turn into any living creature.
でもまあ質量までは無理かな。
What about his mass? He can't change that, can he?
基本は2メートル台の生物のいいとこ取りってあたりで勘弁してほしいよね。
Might have to be over well 6 feet tall on top of all his other strength.
ねえ、すごく関係ないけど、深海の生き物に変わられたらちょっと怖いと思わない？
Random question, but what if he could turn into a sea creature? That'd be just awful. I mean, we didn't get to see him change into the monkey now. Like the fight was just over in the blink of an eye and Alice was dying, so we didn't get to see the details they just mentioned. Aoko narrowed her eyes as she bemoaned the creature's existence. The conversation appeared to have revived her fighting spirit. Once again, her eyes were focused and her thoughts were clear. Aoko was back to her usual self.
で、その後はアリスうまく逃げられたの？
So what happened next? You were able to escape. Of course she was able to escape, otherwise she wouldn't be talking to you right now. Come on now.
いいえ、私もあの狼にやられたわ。
But you have to word it like that. No, the wolf had his way with me next. Alice explained how the wolf had pinned her to the ground. Incidentally, she kept the part about Sojo rather short. Alice herself was not sure why she felt it necessary to leave most of that information out.
アリスが相手をした後、休む間もなく私のところに来たわけか。
Sutoku came straight to me after fighting you.
初めから昨日で決着をつけるつもりだったんだ、兄貴。
That's what she planned, sis. You wanted to end this all yesterday.
姉妹かな。ここぞって時のタイミングは一緒だったの忘れてた。
It was my mistake for forgetting. We did always have a habit of having the same thought at the same time.
切り札は見せたからには敵を殲滅しなくちゃいけない。
Once you reveal your hand to the enemy, you have to take them out.
姉貴は視点を残り2つにしておいて、自分の正体を告げて、こっちの戦力を分けさせた。
She waited until she was out of the last two sigils to reveal herself and divide our strength.
その時点で奥の手を投入してくることは覚悟してたけど、まさか人狼なんて極物とはね。
I knew she'd do something like that, but I never imagined she'd have a freaking werewolf with her. Aoko let out a heavy sigh. Alice nodded slightly in agreement.
それはそれとして、宗十郎がアリスを助けに行くなんてね。感謝しなくちゃいけないんだろうけど、バカな真似してくれたわ。
Anyway, I can't believe Sojo came to your rescue. I know I should be grateful, but he's such an idiot.
私が東子の立場なら、報復の可能性は一つ残らず排除する。
If I was in Toko's shoes, I'd be tying up any loose ends.
私たちがどうにかなった後、猫の手首ひねるみたいに片付けられるわよ、あいつ。
After dealing with us, wiping him out should have been a piece of cake.
しずきくんならこちらで保護してもらってるけど。
Shizuka's under this church's protection now. Aoko's eyes
う
widened.
わ、どういう風の吹き回し？
What? Am I hearing things?
アリスがあいつの世話を焼くなんて。
You actually went out of your way to protect him?
だって放っておいたら青子が怒ると思って。
I was thinking of you. We wouldn't want you getting angry now, would we? Alice responded with her eyes closed. Aoko frowned in silent indignation, as if she wanted to protest where Alice got that idea from.
まあいいけど、それじゃあ今ここにいるんだ、宗十郎。姿が見えないけどどうしたの？
Well, whatever. He's here now, I assume. But where? Still unable to move her neck, she looked around as best as she could. Probably
彼
in
な
the
ら
room.
気分を悪くして倒れたわ。今は営利神父の寝室を借りているけど。
He collapsed, so he's resting in Father's Aries bedroom. Aoko thought her brow had collapsed. Sure, he was under the church's protection, but that Toko set the wheels for the one. But that Toko set the wheels in motion for his death.
何があったの？一体。
What exactly happened to him? Alice paused for a moment before carefully answering the question.
それが
Well,
彼、あなたを見て嘔吐したの。
when he saw you, he vomited. She decided to be blunt. Aoko was taken aback. For several seconds, dim sunlight leaked through the window. When she had found her voice again, she muttered.
いいけど、ひどい侮辱よね、それって。
Well, whatever. It's kind of rude, though. Perhaps amused or perhaps exhausted from staying up all night, Alice cracked a tiny giggle.
何よ。そんなにおかしい、アリス。
Alice, what's so funny?
さあ、 どうかしらね。けどしずきくんにも言い分はあるでしょう。
No, nothing.
今のあなた、とても見られたものじゃないわ。
Suzuki had his reasons, I'm sure. You were in a bad state, Aoko. Aoko appraised her physical state. She was dressed in a hospital gown. Bandages covered the majority of her body. Her right leg was in plaster cast. Since she could move her right arm, she brought the bandaged fingers up to her throat.
そっか、思い出した。あのガキ、まず私の首元に噛みついたんだっけ。
Oh yeah, I remember now. That little shit bit my neck.
すごかったわよ、首が噛み砕かれるのって。ゴキーンって音が頭の中に響いて、気持ち悪いったらなかったわ。
It was crazy, being torn to pieces like that. I even hurt my neck snapping. Gross doesn't do the feeling justice.
ち、あそこから好き勝手やられたもんだから、つい忘れてた。
Damn it, he played maybe like some kind of chew toy. I almost wish I could forget. Aoko sounded upbeat, but the look in her eyes was anything but. She had been torn to pieces, but her life had been mercifully spared. At least she hadn't been dismembered. She had been bitten, beaten, and bones broken. Magic rest containing the Aozaki's secret arts decorated her body. Even if her spine was broken, as long as her body was alive, the crest would piece it back together. Despite the crest easing the pain a little, she still hurt enough to want to kill that wolf 100 times over.
視点は全部壊された。
If all sigils have been broken,
これで三崎市の霊脈はフリーってわけね。
Misaki City's ley lines are wide open.
全容を把握してるのはうちらだけの特権だったけど、東子は昔から知ってる以上、解析の手間もいらないと。
We thought we had the edge of having the big picture of the area, but if Toku's known for a while, she's a step ahead of us.
真剣な話、所有権の書き換えまで何時間かかると思う？
Let's be real. How long do you think it'll take her to transfer Dominion rights?
東子さんなら2日かからないでしょうね。
For Toko, it wouldn't even take her 2 days.
支店の修復は土地そのものに任せるしかない。
She has no choice but to wait for the land itself to restore the sigils.
支店のプロテクトが治る頃にはこの町はもう彼女のものよ。
By the time the defenses are in working order again, this town will be as good as hers.
明日の夜明けとともに破産する我が身とはね。
So come tomorrow morning, I'll lose everything.
それでアリスの方はどうなの？まだいける？
What about you, Alice? Any fight left in you?
思考魔術だけなら少しは。
I can manage a little bit of mental magecraft.
あとは小道具に頼ることになるでしょうね。
After that, I'll be relying on trinkets.
ああ、お話にならないか。
Huh, no one got it. Aoko went silent again, staring straight at the ceiling. Alice knew all too well what that look meant.
それでもやるんでしょ、青子は。
You're still planning on fighting, aren't you, Aoko?
まあね、私諦めるのってできないから。
Can you blame me? It's not like I can give up.
で、そういうアリスはどうなのよ。
What about you?
私は一度自分のものになったものは
When something
決
is
して
mine,
人には渡さない。
when something is mine, it stays mine. Aoko muttered in agreement to Alistair's response. Alice's intense attachment to her possessions was enough to make even Aoko shiver. When something is mine, it stays mine. To take it a step further, betrayal was an unforgivable sin. This personal motto was just further proof of her uncompromising nature.
オッケー、決まりね。
Okay, that settles it then.
じゃあ、悪いけどもう少し休ませて。今晩までには何とか動けるようにするから。
I'm going to get some rest. Come hell or high water, I'll be ready by tonight. If the nun was stitched back together had heard that, she would have fainted. Aoko could barely even eat in her current condition. Even so, Alice nodded and stood up. As Aoko's partner, she knew that once her mind was made up, she had to trust her. Silently, the girl in black began to take a leave. Oh. She stopped in front of the door, her hand to her mouth.
アリス？
Alice? Aoko was curious, suspecting that Alice had something silly to say again. Quite the contrary. Instead of blushing, Alice furrowed her brow, like she was thinking over a difficult riddle.
アリス？
Alice, hello? Aoko called out, but Alice remained with her back to her roommate.
なんで間に合ったのかしら。
How did he make it to me in time? She spoke as if words had accidentally burst from her thoughts. Alice's question was about something Aoko could not possibly have guessed.
あの時もそう。
They've happened before too,
私たち始発で帰ってきたのに。
even though we took the first train back. She carried on mumbling at the door. Unable to find an answer, Alice gloomily put her hand on the doorknob.
言いたくないなら別にいいけど、
If you don't want to say it, it's fine.
何がどうしたって言うのよ、アリス。
But if you do, then spit it out already. Alice did not respond. She opened the door to leave the room and left a few words hanging in the air.
どうでもいいことだけど、
It might be nothing.
ゆいかさんにはしずきくんは見えなかったそうよ。あ、
By the way, Eureka said she couldn't see Suzuki. Couldn't see? Huh? The door closed with a thud.
そりゃまた珍しい。
Huh? That doesn't happen every day. Aoko mumbled to herself from her best, seemingly slightly happier. Plain since birth, Yuka Suze saw the world through her older senses. She was especially sensitive to enemies, or those who bore real ill. And typically viewed almost everyone as a threat. Presumably because that was the easiest thing to pick up on. So when she said she couldn't see Sojo, that meant he was completely harmless. And then, that harmless individual decided to pay the small sick room a visit. Sojo looked like a stiff breeze could knock him over. It made Aoko wonder if who the real patient was.
何しに来たの？あん
What
た
do you want? Though Aoko could barely move, she was still able to give him the cold shoulder. His expression's gone. Sojo grunted something or other before beginning to speak more coherently.
アリスが客間で眠ったから礼拝堂にいたんだけど、人が集まりだしたんでこっちに逃げてきた。
Alice was sleeping in the guest room and I was in the chapel. People started coming in, so I came here.
あ、礼拝の時間か。クリスマスだってのによくやるわ。
Ah, must be time to worship. It is Christmas. It was indeed Christmas, but the regular mass was on Christmas Eve. The ones gathering in the chapel must have been truly devout followers. Tourists were rare in Misaki after all. So much so that almost no one visited this area this time of the year. The worshippers must have been locals.
それで別にどうってことないでしょ。探せば顔見知りもいるんじゃない？
So, why do you care? There might be someone you know there. Of course, as distant as ever. She clearly had not forgotten the fact that he had vomited when he saw her, and a hint of spite leaked into her voice. Then again,
いや、ちょうどいい機会だからいろいろと聞きたくなって。
it's not that. I just thought this might be a good chance to ask you some things.
少し話をしていいかな。
Can we talk for a bit? Since Aoko was already in a bad mood, Soju did not pick up on anything out of the ordinary. She wanted Dam to go drink some water because he looked ready to collapse, but he didn't seem to be aware of his own condition. And to be fair to him, Alice did say Aoko was in a bad shape. Given how unaccustomed to blood Soju was, it was no wonder he had fainted.
ああ、そうか。
No, of course.
話なんてまだ無理だな。すまない。出直してくる。
You're probably still too injured to talk. Sorry, I'll come back later. Soju seemed to have misunderstood Aoko being deep in thought as if not having enough stamina to speak. Naturally, this is all sit well with Aoko.
待ちなさいよ。話だけなら別に構わないわ。やる気持て余してるし、暇つぶしがてらに相手してあげるわよ。
Hold it right there. If you came to talk, I can talk just fine. I've been cooped up in here, so I could use a distraction.
ま、退屈しのぎにしてはちょっとグレード下がるけど、この際贅沢言ってられないし。
Okay, so you're not the best distraction, but beggars can be choosers. Soju's sentence was going to be rough, but he took a seat on the chair next to the bed.
で、何が聞きたいの？
So, why did you want to ask me? Aoko spoke energetically in an attempt to distract her from her weakened appearance. Naturally, she knew she was feeling no one.
やっぱり青崎は強いな。安心した。
You really are strong, Aozaki. I'm relieved to see that you're okay. Pfft, okay, in this state. Soju sat nodding in admiration. Aoko shot him an unimpressed look in response to your unwanted praise.
あんたってほんと間が悪いわ。
Honestly, you have the worst timing.
いいわよ、別に。
Nothing, forget it.
私の夢の話だから、そっちが気に病むことは。
Just something from a dream. It has nothing to do with you. She glowed, remembering. Come to think of it, almost everyone in a dream is here in the church, turning a dour expression into an irritated one.
やめやめ、こんなつまんない話。聞きたいことがあるなら手っ取り早く済ませちゃってよ、宗十郎。
Enough about that. You said you had questions, so out with them.
よかった。じゃあまず今の状況を聞かせてくれないか。
Alright, can you tell me what's going on?
瞳子さんの話じゃ俺も無関係じゃないそうだし。
I mean, Motoko had them involved and all. Soju spoke calmly, making Aoko wonder if he really understood the gravity of the situation. He was Toko's enemy now. He was defenseless and needed protection. Neither Aoko nor else could help him, and the church could withdraw their sanctuary at any moment. They had picked a side, and had turned him into the innocent bystander into a target. And had turned him from an innocent bystander into a target. The answer he sought was as simple as that. He knew the facts. He was not a mage and therefore for powerless.
まあそれでもアリスは助けられたわけだし。
I guess you did help Alice. Aoko did owe him one for that. To save Feng, she decided that she could at least give him the wolf story up until now.
よし、今までの経緯も含めて軽く説明してみましょうか。
Okay, I'll quickly walk you through everything.
私も何か得るものがあるかもしれないし。
You know, maybe even I'll get something out of it. Aoko composed herself before beginning her explanation. The battle began at the end of November. A lot has happened since then, including meeting Sojiro.
事の起こりは1ヶ月前。
It all started a month ago.
三崎市に貼られた結界の端っこが何者かに消されたのが発端だっ
When the edge of the bone field around Misaki City was taken
た。
down.
私が後継ぎになってから5度目の三崎市を狙う敵の登場ってわけ。
The fifth time since I became successor, Misaki City was officially under attack.
今回の敵は私たちとは直接戦わず、まず土地を奪うところから始めたわ。
This time, instead of attacking us directly, the enemy started by taking the land.
今までのやつは私たちを半人前と舐めていたから、大抵は真正面から仕掛けてきて、勝手にアリスの猟犬の餌食になったんだけど、まあそれはどうでもいいとして。
Everyone that had gone before her had been a bunch of amateurs all full of themselves and taking us head on. They all ended up as Skibblefels as watchdogs.
町の結界には2種類あって、侵入者を見つけるものと土地の力を有効利用するものがあるの。
Anyway, two types of bounded fields surround this area. One detects intruders, one sevens energy from the land.
敵が壊したのは土地の結界の方で、これが全部壊されると、私やアリスは土地の所有権を失ってしまう。
The enemy attacked it later. If the entire field is destroyed, then Alice and I effectively lose our ownership of the land.
土地のないはぐれ魔術師と同じになっちゃうのよ。
Without land, we become no different than rogue mages.
もちろんそうならないように侵入者をあぶり出すための結界があるんだけど、こっちには何の反応もなかった。
Of course, we had another field set up to detect intruders, but it didn't do what it was supposed to do.
ま、当然よね。
And now we know why.
今回の敵は私の姉貴、青崎東子その人だったんだから。
The enemy was my sister, Toko Awazaki.
青崎の結界は同族である姉貴を敵とみなさなかった。
Awazaki bounded fields aren't going to recognize a fellow Awazaki as a friend.
あるいは姉貴は結界の抜け道、構造の資格をついたのかもしれない。
Alternatively, she may have just known about a blind spot and slipped in that way.
もともとうちの後継者はあの人だし、それぐらいの知識はあったでしょう。
As the original successor, it's only natural that she'd have that knowledge to begin with.
そうして姉貴は私たちに見つかることなく好き勝手に結界の視点を壊し始めた。
So, since she was invisible to us, she had to rearrange to break the bounded field sigils.
時間をかけてゆっくり壊していったのは外からやってきた部外者を演じていたからでしょうね。
She deliberately attacked him slowly, one by one, to make us think it was an outsider.
さすがに連続して壊されればこっちも身内の犯行だと疑うし、うち親戚である浅木家とは仲悪いままだしさ。
If she'd broken them all at once, I suspect it was one of my relatives, such as someone from the Asagi family.
ま、姉貴の芝居に騙された私たちが間抜けなんだけど、セオリーとして結界崩しは長丁場になるものなの。
Well, we were stupid to fall for a little game. It is also possible that it took her a long time to destroy the field.
管理地の結界は強固に作られているからね。普通は半年単位での攻防になる。
Our fields are made of strong stuff, and it typically lasts for 6 months.
攻める側はまず結界を形取る視点が何個あるか、それがどの5大要素でくくられているか、退去の正しい順序はどれか、それらを地道に解き明かしていく。
An enemy would need to figure out how many sigils supported the field, what elements comprise them, and the correct order of taking them down.
もちろん管理地の魔術師たちの目を盗みながら、
All while making sure the mate they belong to doesn't note it.
対して守る側は侵入者がいる
I'm
ことに気
sprinkling
づ
with
くか
simple
ら、
words today.
悪さをされる前に敵の拠点を見つけ出して外敵を排除する。
If we did notice, we'd locate the intruder's base and eliminate them before any damage could be done.
こんな感じで結界崩しは長期戦あるいは前哨戦になるものなの。
So, opponent feels they're either broken during a drawn-out battle or preemptively before it even starts.
大抵は攻める側が視点を壊すぞとアピールして土地の持ち主を翻弄疲弊させてから魔術師同士の直接対決で決着がつくわ。
Usually, the enemy threatens to raid the sigils to lure the landowner out. Then things are settled there and then with a duel between mages.
なんで結界を全部壊す必要はないのよ。
Doing that eliminates the need to completely destroy field.
管理地の持ち主を始末した方が早いし、その後は術式さえ解読しちゃえば土地を結界ごと横取りできる。
It's much faster to take out the landowner, as long as they can decipher the formula, seize the fields and lands afterward.
わざわざ壊して作り直すより昔からある結界の方が土地に馴染んでいて強力だしで一石二鳥でしょ。
If you don't destroy the fields, you don't have to remake them. Besides, ones that have been made in the land for years are stronger. That was how Aoko and Alice were duped. They never thought an enemy would waste their time enough if it needed to break all the sigils.
だから私とアリスはとりあえず受けに回った。
That's why Alice and I went on the defensive.
視点を探すために町を調査している敵を待ち伏せてこれを片っ端から倒そうって。
We figured we could surprise the enemy while they searched for the sigils, taking them out one by one.
でもそのうちの一つがケチのつき始めだった。
But that's when things started to go south.
三崎町の公園で山張って待ち受けていた時どうでもいい第三者が覗き見してやがったのよ。
When a certain busybody saw something he shouldn't have seen at a local park. Indeed, it was the ultimate taboo in the world of magecraft. The existence of mages must never be revealed to outsiders.
その後のことはわかるでしょ。
And you know the rest, right?
私は敵との小競り合いをアリスに任せてそれより重要な目撃者狩りに専念せざるを得なくなった。
I had no choice but to leave our battle with the enemy to Alice, and devote my time searching for the eyewitness.
言っとくけどこれはあんたのことだからね。そこで我関せずみたいな顔しないこと。
And in case you haven't realized, I'm talking about you, so don't give me a soppy look like you're surprised. No sooner had Aoko said that, Soju gave her that exact look. Clearly he had been listening, but not necessarily understanding.
ま、いいけどね。宗十郎がそんなだから秘密は漏れなかったんだし。
Whatever, it's water under the bridge. Actually, thanks to your cluelessness, the secret is still safe.
で、あんたっていう目撃者を消そうとした私の単独行動は敵にしても都合のいいものだった。
Anyway, the fact I'm not looking for you worked in the enemy's favor.
強敵であるアリスがいないんだから敵はこれを機会に私を始末しようと特注品の人形を差し向けた。
Alice was the biggest threat. With us separated, she could take me out. That's why she sent a special puppet.
と思っていたけどあれはただの嫌がらせね。間違いなく。
So I told her at the time. Turns out she only sent it to mess with me.
そうでなきゃ私そっくりの人形なんて派遣するかっての。
Otherwise, why use a puppet that looked just like me? Soju nodded, thinking back to the Aoko replica.
あれのことは忘れてちょうだい。
Remember, I'd prefer if you forgot all about that incident altogether.
まあそこから先はあんたもうすうす知ってるでしょ。
After that, you can fill in the blanks.
私とアリスは敵との戦いに専念することになって毎日のように捜査の手を空振って決戦の夜を迎えて今はこうしてる。
Alice and I turned our attention to fighting the enemy, spending most nights striking her fruitlessly until the fight last night.
大体の経緯はこんなところよ。
That's the long and short of it. She stared down at her body as if recalling what had happened would help her help her accept her current state. Under the sheet, magical energy steadily flowed towards her partly bandaged body.
青崎、これまでの君たちの話は分かった。
Okay, Aizaki, think I'm all caught up.
けど、肝心の今の状況はどうなっているんだ？
Come on, bro. Surely you can connect dots. But what about you? Why are you in this state? Soju's specific concern was the reason Aoko was lying there. More than anything, he wanted to know what had happened to her the night before.
バカね。状況も何も完全に私たちの負けじゃない。
Simple, we lost. What more is that to say? Judging by her tone, she would have raised both hands sarcastically in celebration if she could.
負けた？
You lost?
そう。事実は正しく受け止めなくっちゃね。
Yep, it sucks, but there's no getting around it.
5つの視点が全部壊された時点で 勝負はついたの。
The moment all 5 sigils were broken, it was over.
管理地の所有権は宙ぶらりで、明日には東子の手に渡るでしょう。
The land rights are up in the air until tomorrow when Toko claims them.
で、それを阻止したいこっちは、私もアリスもこのありさま。
In trying to prevent that, Alice and I just ended up like this.
もう立場は逆転したから、これから私たちは挑戦者。つまり、はぐれ魔術師ってことよ。
Our tables have turned, so from here on we'll be the challengers. We are the rogue mages. Which meant that Aoko, Alice and Sergio had only a few more days with which to utilize the church's services. Either church was not only an arm of the Mage Association, but also a branch of the Holy Church that monitored heresy. Oh boy. Aoko and Alice were the owners of Misaki City's spiritual lands, but they belonged to neither of these organizations. The only reason the church helped them at all was because they were the land administrators. Once those rights were lost, the church would have no reason to provide any further aid.
エイリ神父はコウモリだから私を助けてくれたけど、ユイカさんは教会の代行者だから、傷が塞がったなら明日にでも出て行けって言ってくる。
Further Aerie is helping us because he's neutral in all this, but Yurika is a church executor. Once I'm healed, she'll kick me out.
教会にとっちゃ魔術師なんてもともと排除すべき商売敵だからね。
The church sees mages as a professional competition.
バカリつかは。ま、泣きつけば力にはなってくれるでしょうけど。
And it's Super Twitsuka. Well, she might help out if I cried. Sergio understood a little of what Aoko was talking about.
そうじゃなくて、青崎、
I didn't mean that,
昨
Aozaki.
日の夜、何があったんだ？
I meant what actually happened last night. Sergio pressed her, and Aoko really wished that he had not.
見てわからない。惨敗なんてものじゃないわ。
You can't tell by looking. They wiped the floor with me.
喉に食いつかれる。体中好き放題噛まれまくる。挙句に右のももなんてなくなってたそうよ。
My throat was torn to pieces along with the rest of me. My right thigh was basically gone.
ま、アリスのチョコレートのおかげで出血死を免れたけど。
If it wasn't for Alice's chocolate, I would have bled to death. She knocked on the cast around the leg. Aoko spoke casually, but trying to hide how much she wanted to revenge. Which was trying to hide how much she wanted to revenge for being humiliated. In contrast, Soju felt empty. The little color he had in his face began to fade. He was repulsed by the terrible situation. Or were his instincts telling him to flee? Regardless, he appeared very human.
なんでそこで固まる？あ、そっか。
What the hell's wrong with you? Oh, wait, I know.
私を見て吐き出しちゃうぐらいナイーブなんだっけ、宗十郎ってば。大丈夫よ、今はくっついてるから。
You're stupid enough to look at me and throw up, am I right? Well, you can stop worrying. I'm in one piece now.
ユイカさんは治療専門だし、私だってただやられてたわけじゃないし。復元は青崎の得意分野だから、あれくらい問題ないわ。
Yuka's a pro, and I'm still alive. Regeneration is a specialty of the Aozaki mages, so I'll be fine. She gave him a reassuring look, but his expression was unchanged. Aoko had expected him to worry, but his level of concern made it hard for her to even berate him. Feeling embarrassed, she started talking again.
けど姉切ったら、どうやってあんなのを手なずけたんだろう。金の狼なんて、伝説の中にしかいないと思ってた。
She probably brought them a treat or something. The question is, how on earth did my sister manage to tame a golden wolf? I didn't even think they existed.
神代の神秘であるあいつには、千年クラスの魔術じゃないと太刀打ちできない。かといって、殴り合いでどうにかできる相手じゃないし。
He's a relic from the Age of Gods. You need magecraft a millennium in the making just to stand a chance against him. Never mind trying to take him in a fistfight. As images of the night before entered Aoko's mind, she bit her lip in anguish.
金の狼？
Golden wolf? Conversely, the bizarre phrase snapped Sergio out of his state of shock.
そう、黄金の人狼。金狼って言った方がいいのかな。
Yeah, golden wolf. A golden werewolf to be exact.
狼男って言ってもわからないわよね。人間と狼のいいとこ取りみたいなやつと思えばいいわ。
Apparently, Assisic has really good battle air-ups, probably. Then again, you probably never heard of a werewolf. Think part human, part wolf, but only the best parts. I mean, he grew up in the mountains, maybe he probably knows about some shit like this.
野獣というより魔獣の類よ。
It's a magical beast as opposed to a wild one.
普通の人狼なら対抗手段はあるんだけど、東子が連れてるのは黄金の毛並みをした怪物でさ。
There are ways to deal with regular werewolves, but the one with Toko has a golden cow.
あれは原初の人狼の血統で魔獣を通り越して幻獣の域に達している。
He's the descendant of the first werewolves, a transcendent magical beast, phantasmal beast.
聖域の相手にはそいつらを上回る神秘、積み重ねた時間とか魔術の奥義じゃないと無効化されるのよ。
Here is a soldier who opens his coat and he reveals a gun with multiple silver bullets. To take on such a pure monster, you need a mystic with a longer history than some really secret magecraft. Nothing else will really scratch him.
魔術は万能だけど、この年月の差だけは覆せない。
Magecraft can do almost anything, but it just can't compete with something so ancient.
人間の魔術師にとっては天敵みたいな自然災害ね。
He's a kind of natural disaster that any human mage dreads fighting. Her words indicated more admiration than hatred. The way she'd whispered about the wolf. Strangely made sense to Sojiro.
何？
What? I've read it already.
いや、要するに青崎たちじゃかなわない相手なんだな。
I was just thinking how there's something out there that even you and Alice can defeat.
なんてひどいやつだ。
It must be truly awful.
アリスはお腹が裂かれてた。青崎は傷ついてないところはないぐらいだ。
It tore apart Alice's stomach and you, well, you don't have anywhere it wasn't torn apart.
子供なのに。いや、子供だから加減がないのか。
How could a kid? Actually, I guess it's a kid because he doesn't know how to hold back. Sojiro's face was a ghostly pale as he muttered nervously. Aoko merely nodded in agreement.
ほんと。
Now you get it.
人の体を何だと思っているのかしらね。あのお子さん。なぬ？
What kid has the nerve to do that to someone's... Wait, what did you just say? Aoko raised her head. She looked as if she'd seen a ghost.
今、子供って言った？
Did you just say kid?
あんた、なんでそんなことまで知ってるの？
How the heck do you know that?
やっぱりそうなのか。金色の髪なんて2人も
Yeah,
いない
just
と
a
思
kid
っ
he
たん
saw the
だ。
other day.
そいつなら一度見かけたことがある。
I realized it was him that day. I'd never seen someone with such golden hair in my life. It has have been him.
青崎が口にしたような怪物じゃなかったけど、森の奥で
We were deep in the woods, and didn't look anything like the monster you described though.
木の実が2人がかりでとっちめようなんて怖いこと言い出してさ。金一個ないから止めたんだよ。
You know, he wanted me to run after him. I told him no way, of course. The kid freaked me out. I knew there was no catching him. His tone was as curious as the things he was trying to articulate. Aoko had other more pressing matters. Much more pressing.
見たって、どこで？
You saw him? Where?
学校の旧校舎。あ、そういえば挨拶程度なら話もしたっけ。一度だけアルバイトの時に牛肉50キロを生で届けたことがあって。
At the old school campus. Come to think of it, I might have even met him. Just once when I was working, I delivered 50 kilos of raw beef and...
この大バカ
Oh my god, you absolute idiot! The strange, satisfying slapping sound ran out. Ignoring her wounds completely, Aoko had grabbed a slipper and thrown it at Sojiro's unassuming face as hard as she could. Oh no, he got the sandal. She panted, and Sojiro was knocked completely out of his chair. I guess it makes Aoko Latin, doesn't it? For a while, neither moved.
なんで怒るんだ、青崎。
What was that for, Ozaki? The boy asked, unfazed, as he slowly picked himself up. He sat cross-legged as Aoko scowled at him like an enemy.
当たり前じゃない。
What do you think?
なんでそんな怪しいこと黙ってんのよ、あんたは。
Who keeps something like that to himself?
言うほどのことでもない。第一、君たちにこんな話をしても怒られるだけじゃない
I
か。
was got a point there. I didn't even think it was worth mentioning. Even if I had, the two of you would have just gotten mad at me. Aoko knew it was right, and so she swallowed up her words. She imagined himself at dinner.
ところで今日、牛肉の山を担いで届けたんだ。一匹丸ごと。いや、あるところにはあるものだね。お金と食欲。
You never guess what I did today. I delivered a mountain of beef to an animal. One animal. Rich people live in a different world, am I right? If it actually said it, Aoko and Elle's response would have been less than cordial.
それはそうだけど、
Okay, you're probably right.
本当に金髪の子供が旧校舎にいたの？
Anyway, was there really a golden-haired child at the school building?
それが青崎の言う人狼かどうか 自信はないけど、
I don't know whether he was your werewolf.
少なくとも街中の料理店が入れ替わりでおかしな注文を届けてるのは事実だ。駅前の大デートなんてお得意様だって。
We've had some strange orders from restaurants in town, especially that Imperial Metropolis in the station.
確かに食事のたびにあいつを外に出してちゃ目立つだろうけど。
That makes sense. There was no way I could eat out with drawing lots of attention to himself. She did not want to believe it, but the child had to be the werewolf. Could Toko really have been so careless as to hide him in plain sight? It didn't matter at this point. With the werewolf's habitat revealed, Toko's base had been revealed too. To take over the bounded fields, she needed an inconspicuous place to store materials. Misaki High School's old building was the perfect place.
つまり全ての鍵はあんたが隠し持ってたってわけね。
Huh, you were hiding the key to the puzzle this whole time.
隠していたんじゃない。
I wasn't hiding anything.
だいたい青崎が裏山の掃除に参加していたらその時に分かったんじゃないか。
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? If it actually happened with cleaning the back hills, you'd have found it for yourself.
飛び丸一人に任せず青崎も掃除に出ればよかったんだ。
You shouldn't have left it to Tobimaru. In response to Soju's infallible logic, Aoko snapped her fingers. Took a little poke to torture him, huh? Instead of another slipper missile, she let the fateful white collar express how she felt. And with the tightening of the collar, Soju realized something. Aoko had changed. From the bed she looked down on him with a commanding glare. Though weak from her injury, she was still sharp as ever, and would be forgiven for forgetting she was ever was a patient. She was raring to fight. It went without saying who her rage was directed at.
青崎
Naozaki? Aoko responded in a vulnerable tone. Perhaps she'd been taken by surprise. Not that she had an objective, and she'd been lost in her own little world.
ありがとう、宗十郎。
Thanks, Sojo. He expected her to be sarcastic, but this was different. She was genuinely thanking him. He had never known her to be like this and was taken aback.
あのね、とにかくトウコの居場所が分かったのはあんたのおかげだから礼ぐらい言っておこうと思ったの。
I'm just showing my appreciation because she helped me figure out what Toko's hideout is.
それがお気に召さなかった？
Satisfied?
いやお礼を言ってもらえるのはいいことだけど
Sure, it's nice to be thanked, but...
まさかその体でトウコさんのところに行くつもりか。
Are you seriously going after Toko in that condition? His tone was closer to scolding than sympathetic. Aoko simply nodded resolutely.
取られたものは取り返すものよ、宗十郎。
I'm just going to take back what's mine while I still can.
それもすぐに相手のものになってしまう前にね。
My sister won't waste a moment and need to be alive.
Oh.
I think I talked over her there. She sounded unshakable. Even so, Soju would not back down.
勝ち目がなくてもか。暇はないと言うけど今はそれ以上に休息が必要だろう。
Even if you can almost no chance of winning, what you need right now is rest.
その傷だって今は見れるけど昨日はひどかったじゃないか。生きていたのが幸運なぐらいだ。
Yesterday you were really messed up. You still are now. You're lucky to be alive.
違うわ。あれは幸運なんかじゃない。
It's not
そ
like
んな玉かっていうのよ、トウコが。
it's not like it's Toko.
幸運じゃない。
I don't understand.
そう。トウコはね、私が生き残れる程度の傷にとどめたのよ。今回は見逃してやるから、もう一度やってこいって意味でね。
It doesn't help that sometimes the lines that they say in Japanese are longer than what's on screen. Toko, she purposely kept me alive to taunt me, to make me try again.
だから私は生きてるんだし、トウコは私が行くのを待ってる。お互いがお互いの舞台の幕を下ろすために。そうでなければここまで待った意味がないでしょ。
She's waiting for me so we can settle the score. If she wasn't waiting, she'd have made a move already.
嫌だけど、あんたの言葉を借りるならね。
As much as it pains me to, I'm taking your words to heart. Irritation tainted Aoko's words from the sight she was looking. From the sight she looked terrifyingly serious. She was ready to fight to the death. Toko had given a little choice. Soju could understand neither sister.
殺すために生かしたっていうのか、トウコさんは。
Toko left you alive so she could kill you later.
青崎はそれが分かっているのに行こうとしている。
And yet you're still going after her.
そうよ。勝負はついたけど、まだ私たちの話は終わっていないもの。
Exactly. She might have won the battle, but she hasn't won the war.
確かに全開してから行った方がいいに決まってる。けどそうしている間にトウコは岬の深部にたどり着く。そうなったら私の最後の切り札さえ使えなくなる。
I know I've got a better chest fully healed, but while I'm recovering, Togo's gotten a claws into Misaki. That means I need to play my trump card.
自分にできることを自分からなくしてしまうのは
I have to do what I can while I can. But the pain in her eyes was not as deep as the pain of death. It spoke of the regret she would feel if she didn't do everything possible while blood still flowed through her veins.
納得いったのなら黙ってて。
Understand now? Good, and don't try to stop me.
いい。これは私の戦い。あんたには何の責任も関わりもない。私の人生なの。
Listen to me, Sojiro. You're not responsible for anything. Not my life, and not this fight.
座して死を待つなんてまっぴらごめんよ。勝つ気があるならいつまでもベッドで寝てるわけにはいかないでしょ。
And I refuse to sit in bed waiting to die. Who'd do that if they could feel they could win? Sojiro was dumbstruck. Dumbstruck? I'd say it like that. Aoko really never let anyone else get involved. Whether it was because she cared or cared less, he could not tell. What he did understand, though, is that if he wanted to stop her, he would have to do so with his bare hands. Yet he knew better than to try that. Even so, he had to ask one last question. If he did not, he would not be able to live with himself after leaving his room.
わからないな。青崎はなんでそこまでするのか。俺には想像もできない。
I don't get why you need to go through these lengths.
君を縛っているのは義務と強制。どっちなんだろうね。
Is it out of obligation, or are you just forcing yourself? There was a sadness in his eyes. However, Aoko was unmoved by them.
らしくなく難しいこと聞いてくるのね。
It's not like you to ask something so deep.
いいわ。口にしても仕方のないことだけど答えてあげる。
Alright. I'll answer even though it won't change a thing.
その2つはね、常に私を圧迫してるものだと思う。
To be honest, I'm caught between the two.
けど勘違いはしないで。義務も強制も誇りも恐れも周りから与えられたものじゃない。
Don't get me wrong though. Any sense of obligation, compulse, pride or fear comes from me and me alone.
トウコと戦うのをやめたところで祖父は私を叱らないだろうし、アリスも文句は言わないでしょう。
My grandfather wouldn't be mad if I stopped fighting Toko. I doubt Alice would complain either.
ここで逃げてもそれはそれで誰にとってもどうでもいい話になって終わるだけ。だから他人は関係ない。
If I chose to run, nobody would give it a second thought. That's why this is all on me.
本当に意味なんてないのよ、何にだって。
I know it doesn't make a lot of sense.
でも私はトウコから逃げたりしない。
But I want to run away from Toko.
これはただのここにいるっていう存在証明なの。
All that matters is proving to myself that I'm alive.
私は単に意味がないからこそできることは全部やるって決めただけなんだから。
I know that my life has no meaning, and that's why I can do anything. With fiery passion, Aoko Azaki set to peace. Sojo was left with bang in his chest. He did not know why, but the words angered him. Then again, at the same time, her self-confidence had him in wonder. Even though she has said that her life had no meaning, her stubbornness gave meaning to everything.
じゃあ、それがたとえ
So, would it still apply if... Without him thinking, he started to ask another question. Maybe he wanted to change her mind. Maybe he just wanted to hear her answer.
たとえ他の誰も見ていなかったとしても。
If, say, no one was watching. It came out as a murmur. Indeed, if no one was watching, no one could know she had fled. This was the situation Aoko was in. Even so, she shut him down instantly.
あら、見てるわよ。少なくとも私自身がね。
Someone's always watching you, even if it's only yourself. Her expression brightened, possibly because she had been surprised at having to state the obvious. Soju was wide-eyed in shock, but Aoko remained nonchalant.
知らないの、宗十郎。
Haven't you figured it out yet, Sojiro?
生きてく上で一番の観客っていうのはね、他ならぬ自分自身なのよ。だから人生っていうのは油断ならないんじゃない。
Nobody watches you more than you. That's why you have to stay on your toes. Soju did not respond to a somewhat exasperated tone, but simply he rose to his feet. He looked defeated, which was not like him at all.
宗十郎
Sojiro?
すまない。君が素晴らしいことを言っているのはわかるんだ。
I'm sorry. I know you're saying something really incredible.
俺にはわからない。
It's just, I don't understand it. He meekly walked towards the door. As he placed his hand on the doorknob, he paused. For a few seconds he fought with himself, desperately trying to think of something to say. No words came forth, and so he opened the door, which swung by with a strange creak, and then he left the room. After watching him go, Aoko turned to gaze towards the window. It was nearly evening. A thin veil of darkness was threatening to descend on the town outside. I think I have to turn on the light here a little bit too. There's some menacing music here, though. By evening, only Soju remained in the chapel. He sat alone at the end of a pew, slouching helplessly like a guilty believer ready to confess. The chilly air seeped through the walls, turning brief to mist. The frigid air stole the heat from the body without mercy. Soju looked around at the chapel's tall ceiling and spacious hall. The room made her feel colder somehow. Unsure of what to do with himself, he stared into space. His thoughts were entirely unfocused. First and foremost, he could not understand what the buzzing sensation was in his chest. Time passed by, no answers came. To all lookers, he must have seemed deep in thought, or in a deep sleep, like he would turn to stone if left be. Either way, he looked clearly down. The problem was his lack of awareness. Not that he was aware of it, of course.
おや、夜間の礼拝とは感心です。
Worshipping at this hour, you're quite a devotee. I swear, if you say Jorokobi, I'm gonna lose it. Sergio raised his head and turned right to where the voices came from. Stood before the altar was a man from last night, dressed in the priestly garbs. How long has he been standing there? Sound reverberated dryly through the chapel hall. Sergio did not have the strength to stand, let alone leave. He just stared at the approaching shadow.
もっとも、この教会に精霊なんていませんけどね。
No, you'll not find the Holy Spirit in this church.
ここ、座りますがよろしいですか
Do you mind if I sit? The priest pointed at Sergio's pew. Without waiting for an answer, he took a seat at the opposite end.
改めて挨拶を。私は文塚エイリ。この教会の何なんでしょうかね。書類の上では持ち主になるんでしょうか。エイリ神父と呼んでください。
I never formally introduced myself. I'm Eri Fumitsuka. This church, owner, you could say on paper. At least, we could say on paper at least. Call me Father Eri.
あなたは静木宗十郎君ですか。なるほど。確かにユイカには見えない。
You must be Soju Suzuki, yes. I can see why Yuriko didn't notice you. Father Eri spoke in a gentle but uninvested tone. He was a thorough egoist. Soju knew all too well about people who spoke this way. The individual who cared for him when he first came down from the mountain was one of them. Soju glanced across him apathetically. Father Eri seemed unfazed by the lack of direction during the conversation.
少し君と話がしたいのですが、よろしいでしょうか。
I was wondering if I could speak to you for a moment. Soju responded with a nod. Father Eri replied with an artificial smile.
青子が心配のようですね。
You seem terribly worried about Aoko.
別に律香さんにもそう聞かれましたけど、青崎の心配はしていないんです。
Not really. Ritsuka said the same thing to me, but that's not it. Soju stared straight ahead as he answered, his voice sounding uncharacteristically weak and unsure.
けど今はずっと彼女のことが気にかかっている。それがなんだかわからなくて、さっきから考えてる最中です。
I wonder why. She's been on my mind a lot and I don't know why. I'm trying to figure it out.
簡単ですよ。君は単に青子に嫉妬しているのです。
The answer's simple. You envy her. With just few words, Soju snapped out of his funk. He clapped his hands and turned towards the priest.
そっか。俺は単に青崎が羨ましかっただけなんだ。
I see. So we just envy her.
いや、でもそれは困るな。
Wait a second. It can be good.
自分の中にそういうところがあるなんて気づきもしなかった。
I didn't know I could feel that way. Father Eri did not respond to his confession like ramblings.
それで話っていうのは何ですか？
So, what did you want to talk to me about?
いえ、話というより質問です。
Well, there's more of a question I'd like to ask, really.
君は今まで山奥に住んでいたと聞きました。そこで一つどうしても気になることがあって。
He did the music is louder, his voice is very low. I heard you live deep in the mountains until recently. Something strikes me as
気
curious.
になることですか？
Really? What?
はい。おそらく今まで誰もあなたにこの手の質問をしなかったのでしょう。
Well, I doubt anyone else asked you this before.
それはあなたが他人にその手の不安を感じさせないからです。実際私もそう思いますし。
No doubt because you don't know the people around you. I admit, I feel the same way. Same way talking to you.
ですからまあこれも縁ですし、私も肩書きがこれですしね。迷える子羊がいるんですから、それなりの務めを果たさないと後ろめたいというか。
Maybe it's opportunity presenting itself, one sense of obligation as a man of the cloth. But when I see a lost lamb, I feel a need to guide it. Friday looked at Sergio pleasantly. His pupils were like black holes that could suck the soul out of your body.
おかしなことが気になるんですね。
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
その質問というのは。
What's your question exactly?
いえ、ごく自然の疑問ですよ。
No, don't worry. It's nothing unusual.
あなたはなぜ山から降りてきたのか。そこでなら君は幸福だったでしょうに。
Simply, why did you come down here? You seemed like you'd be happier back home. Sergio was not sure what he had done, but it sounded like the priest was accusing him of something. Then again, it was a reasonable question, if a little pointless.
Oh.
Sergio had no answer. Further, ignored the sullen boy and continued.
山での生活がいかに厳しいものかは私も人並みには知っています。若い頃ちょっとした手違いで遭難したこともありますしね。
I'm somewhat aware of the challenges that life in the mountains might bring. I experienced it firsthand while I made a small mistake in my youth.
山での生活はこの上なく簡素です。何しろ生きること以外に時間を割く余裕がない。楽しむために生きるのではなく、生きるためにただ生きる。生活は必要最小限をさらに切り詰めたものとなっていく。
Life in the mountains is incredibly simple. Your time is dedicated to survival. You don't live for joy, but rather to stay alive. It makes a minimalist lifestyle seem full of excess.
山での生活に比べれば都市のあり方は楽園以外の何者でもないでしょう。
Compared to that, city life should be nothing short of paradise.
ですが楽園の定義は人それぞれです。
However, paradise means something different to everyone. Sergio still did not answer. His expression remained blank. The only sound was the priest's voice echoing around the chapel.
一粒の種の誕生すら喜びになる生活。
A life where even a single seed could bring joy.
電気の明かりがどれだけ暖かでも自然のままの厳しい寒さを君は尊んでいたはずです。
No matter the warmth and light of electricity brings, I expect you to respect the bitter cold of nature more.
なのになぜ降りてきたのですか。山にいれば君は幸せだったでしょう。
So tell me, why come here when you'd be happier in the mountains? Father Ari repeated his question. Sergio's mouth remained firmly shut. Not because he did not want to answer, but because he simply did not know how to. All he knew is that if he wanted to go back, he could not.
困ったものです。そこをはっきりさせないことにはいつまでも救いがない。
My son, salvation will not be forthcoming to those who choose to ignore his calling.
故郷を捨てた理由もわからないのに旅先の土地を愛することなんてまっとうな人間にはできませんよ。
If you don't know why you left, you won't be able to love where you arrived.
これは忠告ですが、すべてを無条件に肯定したところで幸福になれるとは限りません。
A word of advice. Happiness does not come from the unquestionable acceptance of everything.
あなたはもう少し自分の心を許してあげないと。
Be fair to yourself. Sergio could not make sense of it as being told. Only the father's last word made any impression on him. Being fair to yourself is easier said than done, of course. And what that entails, Sergio wasn't certain of.
そういえば。
Actually, that makes sense. Dirk had mentioned something similar before and it didn't impress him. First her, now this priest. How could people know things if he hadn't even told them?
すごいですね。神父さんっていうのはみんなそうなんですか？
Well, are all priests like you? Sergio said, curious to where the weight of his shoulders had gone to. In a way, one of his strong points is the fact that his emotional scars are not shown on the surface.
ええ、 神父は悩みを暴くのが仕事ですから。
Indeed, the priest is obliged to shine a light on troubled hearts.
大抵は暴くだけで埋めるのに失敗するんですけどね。
Though, of course, that's not always enough.
お悩みを暴くってつまり相談事ですか？
By shining a light, do you mean talk things over?
そういうソフトなのも承っています。私が解決できる悩みなどたかが知れているようですけど。
Yes, to a certain extent at least. The only problems I can solve are mostly small. The priest shrugged, looking a little disconcerted. Granted, surgery still did not twist for the area at all, but at that moment anyone was a ray of light in his eyes.
じゃあたかが知れた程度の悩みを聞いてもらえますか？
Do you mind helping me with a little small problem?
君が青子をなぜ羨むかですね。
You want to know why you're envious of Aoko, right? Correct. It was as if the priest could see into the body's soul with his serene eyes.
まあそういうことです。
Well, yeah.
自分でもどうしてそう思うのかがわからない。でもあなたならそれを知ってそうだ。
I don't even know why I feel this way myself, but you seem to.
知りませんけど、まあ無責任に答えましょうか。
I don't. I can simply guess. Not being the one to shoulder the burden.
それはおそらくあなたには根拠がないからですよ。
Your envy may come from a lack of foundation.
自分の色がないと例えた方が正確ですが。
Or more accurately, you're like a color of your own. Sergio squinted, trying to understand the priest's complicated yet concise answer.
ほら、そこです。君に優れた部分があるとしたら、その順応性です。
This is what I'm talking about. You're extraordinarily flexible.
山という異界から町に降りて、一人で暮らしていけたこ
You learn to live alone in the city after coming down from the mountains.
と。ようやく慣れた常識の中で、青子たちという非常識と関わっても暮らしていけたこと。
And then, once you got used to that, you started living with Aoko and Els in a very different world.
そうであると努めているにしても、あなたの順応性は際立っている。
I don't know if you consciously try to adapt, but regardless, your ability to do so is astonishing.
原因は知りませんが、君には初
So
め
true
から
needs an adult.
自我というものが第一に現れてはいないのです。
Also, I don't know why, but you do not appear to exhibit signs of a regular ego.
何事にも対応できるものの、種に交わるほど器用でもない。
You can respond to anything, but you aren't influenced by it.
強いて言うのなら、色の乗っていない空白ですかね。
To be frank, you're a blank canvas that stays blank.
風景に溶け込む自然さは素晴らしい人徳ですが、自我がないということは、居場所がないということですから。
While blending into your surroundings is a wonderful thing, no sense of self means having no place to call home.
いいことばかりじゃありません。
Your talent is a double-edged sword.
ユイカにまで見えないというのは予想以上でしたが、
The fact Eureka didn't see it was unexpected.
姿なき精霊すら捉えるあれが見えなかったのですから、君の無欲ぶりも筋金入りだ。
She can perceive even incorporeal elemental spirits, and yet not you. But it says a lot about your lack of greed. As if amused by something, Father Airy grinned. However, Soju understood neither the meaning of the smile nor his words.
憶測に過ぎませんが、青子はあなたを見て反感を覚えたと思いますよ。
This is mere speculation, but I believe Aoko feels resentment when she looks at you.
自分のないあなたは、自己を押し通してきた彼女にとって認めがたいものだったでしょうから。
To a present soul like her, your lack of self is something she simply cannot accept.
そして同時に、あなたは青子に自分ではどうしても手に入れられないものを見てしまった。
And yet, you see something in Aoko that you could never attain.
言葉にするとくだらない表現になりますが、そういうことです。
It feels crude. Hello there, thanks for the follow. It feels crude to put such things in the word, but it is what it is.
先ほどは嫉妬と言いましたが、それは訂正しましょう。
A moment ago I said you envied Aoko, but that's not quite true.
君は青子に、い
In
や、
fact, No, never mind.
言葉にするのは、それこそ野暮だ。
Some things are best left unsaid. Father Airy smiled gently. It was a fresh faced grin that belied his age. Whenever it came to Aoko, he seemed to forget his role as a priest. But it was irrelevant to Sojiro.
神父さん、それで結局自分は青子のどこら辺に憧れてるんですか？
So, Father, What exactly do I admire about Aoko then? Sojiro responded to Fairy's angrily rumbling while being direct. Some would say that the priest had been direct himself, but this was Sojiro, and he needed things spelled out.
今のでもわからないと。
You still don't get it?
参りましたね。こういうことは言葉を尽くすほど実感が湧かないものですが、まあ、私も神父と呼ばれる身です。少し切り口を変えて代弁してみましょう。
Then you have me beat, Sojiro. Some things really are difficult to put into words. And then again, I'm simply a man of the cloth. How about a change of tack?
あなたは青子の過去を知っていますか？
Do you know about Aoko's past?
詳しくは知りません。高校デビューとかおかしな言葉を口にしてましたけど。
Not much. She told me some weird stuff I didn't understand about the start to high school and things.
全く知らないということですね。
So by not much you mean nothing.
いいでしょう。ではしずきくん、虐待のない例え話ですが。
Very well, Shizuki. Allow me something to try something more abstract.
君は突然自殺しろと言われて従えますか？
If you were suddenly told to kill yourself, could you?
自殺ですか？
Kill myself?
そう、自殺です。神父である私が口にしていいことではありませんが、まあ、私は格好だけなのでいいでしょう。
Yes, kill yourself. Of course, a priest shouldn't talk about such things, but my appearance is only skin deep.
青子はね、近いことを求められたのです。15歳の時に。
Anyway, Aoko was asked to do something along those lines when she was 15.
彼女がそれまで積み重ねてきた努力も希望も過去も未来も全て捨てること。今日からお前は違う生き物として生きろとね。
Throw away her hopes and dreams, her past and future. Everything she was up to at that point. Become a different being
ど
entirely.
うです？それは自己の抹消。未来の死と同じだと思いませんか？
Well, the end of yourself is the end of your future, wouldn't you agree? His words fit what Aoko said about her past. Until middle school, she led a normal life. Then out of the blue, she became the family's heiress in place of a sister. Becoming a magician meant casting aside the life she had known. She had to leave behind her ambitions and prospects and live a life of a mage something she barely knew anything about. I keep misreading the text that's cut off like that. Like it need to be a little pause. Well, up until that point, I thought her everything from then would bring her misery. Aoko's grandfather was not the forceful type. Your sister has failed, now it's your turn, he had said. Did Aoko resist? Sojiro could not begin to imagine. All he knew is that she could not be happy with the hand she was dealt. Even if the life of a magician was attractive, to believe the possibility that Aoko could give up her lifestyle to that point was to not know her at all. Aoko Murasaki put her all into everything. She probably achieved a lot in those 15 years. Her achievements and prospects were no doubt enough to make anyone jealous. But did she have the conviction to throw those away and go back to square one? And square one did not come close to the reality of it. The future she had envisioned for so long would have been obliterated.
青子はどうしたんですか？
So, what did Aoko do?
いやー、これがもう全くの頑固者でして。
Well, we are talking about one exceptionally stubborn girl.
立ち会った私でさえどうかと思うぐらい簡単にうなずきました。
I did not witness it myself, I wouldn't have believed it, but she nodded.
震える指を懸命に握り込んでやってやろうじゃないと見栄を切ってね。
She stood there defiantly, curling her shaking fingers into both fists.
彼女は祖父の期待や青崎の責任感からではなく逃げることを嫌って魔術師の道を取ったんですよ。
Not to appease her grandfather, not out of obligation to the Aozaki family, but because she hates to run away from anything.
拒むことは逃げではないのでしょうが、青子にはそう思えたんでしょう。逃避という行為はこれまでの自分の時間を否定することになると。
Now, refusing something is not the same as running away from it, but try telling it to Aoko. To her, running away would be rejecting the life she'd fought.
今までの自分を嘘にしてしまうのなら、今までの生活に別れを告げることを青子は選んだのです。
If that was all to go, she would say farewell on her own terms. So, that's what she did.
まあ 極端ではありますが、あれは前に進むためなら全てを捨てられる人間なんです。
Extreme, but she's the kind of person who would sacrifice everything in the name of progress. An affectionate smile crossed Father Avery's face. Rather than signaling his closeness to Aoko, it conveyed the pride of a guardian.
ですが、私も思い違いをしていました。結局はそうなるように、青子は育てられていたのです。
However, I was also mistaken. As it turns out, Aoko had been raised to become a mage all along.
彼女の祖父は、瞳子が家を出ることも、青子が跡継ぎを了解することも読んだ上で、あの二人を育ててきた。
Her grandfather predicted Toko would leave and that Aoko would become his heiress, so he raised both of them accordingly.
形だけですが、私も神父としてさすがにそれはどうかと思いましてね。柄にもなく青子を説得したものです。
As a priest, if only by name, I felt uncomfortable about that. I knew she had no interest in a new role.
祖父の思い通りになることはありません。なんなら私とメキシコあたりに逃げませんかと。
Things could have gone hardly without her grandfather had planned, so I asked her to flee with me to Mexico.
しかしまあ、躊躇なく振られました。
Alas, she turned me down with a moment's thought.
その時の彼女の返答は、今でも一言一句覚えています。
I still remember every word of her answer.
だって私一人がどんなに泣き叫んでも今の状況は変わらないんでしょ。
Well, me crying isn't going to change anything, is it?
私にしかできないなら正面から受けて立つ。
If I'm the only one who can do it, I'll do it.
たとえ不本意で突然投げ込まれた川の中でだってできることはあるはずだもの。
Even if I get thrown to the wolves, I'll just have to find a way to survive.
逃げるなんてのは最後の最後。
Running away is only a last resort.
それまではせいぜい華麗に踊ってやるわ。
Until then, hear me roar. Why Mexico? I don't know. Because it's the other side of the world, probably. The priest decided her words after recalling the lines from his favorite play. It certainly seemed like something she would say. The last thing Aoko said in the room where she was covering him probably meant the same. Of course, when an audience is watching, you want her approval. However, approval must come from within first. Aoko worked to feel proud of herself before worrying about how others viewed her. She at least wanted to do her job with grace. In response to everything she had lost, she would hang in there, even if it meant going alone. As for why Soju envied her, well, that was obvious. To Soju, she lived her life with her head held high. He was a boy who accepted everything but had nothing. She was a girl who threw it all away but never lost a thing. Going to Mexico with a fake priest abandoning everything. How could she say no to that? He stood in the meeting room all alone, seeing the ugliness within, and the sublime outside. Looking back, he finally realized what was eating at him.
もういいでしょう。君は青子の容姿に感じ入ったのではなく、青崎青子という生き方に感じ入ったのです。
I think you see it now. It's not her appearance and structure is beautiful, but the spirit.
ま、青子は青子で、れっきとした美人ですが。
Not that she's invisible beautiful, of course. Out of tea. Enjoy tea. Soju nodded. From the day he had first met her, it was indeed how he had felt, and just took him until now to realize it. The strength in her eyes and the unwavering will had captured his heart.
なんかすごい汗がまんだ。
She puts up with a lot.
本当に小娘のくせにギネス級の頑固さです。
She really does. There's a lot of fight packed into the small frame. Father Avery spoke from the heart. Soju raised his head, gave a small grin and scratched his cheek. So many hours wasting brooding like an idiot. Part of him still felt strange, but it didn't bother him to leave the question unsolved for now. Unable to stay still, he stood up. He couldn't care less about the Ozaki family, mage battles, or Aoko rushing off to her death. Right now he just wanted to see her face.
お待ちなさい。病室は立ち入り禁止です。
Stop, the recovery room is off limits. The cold words echoed around the chapel. They reached Soju as he was about to head back to Aoko. The sightless sister must have been waiting by the altar. She moved quickly to block his path.
ゆいかさん、今病室には入れないんですか？
Miss Yuka, I'm not allowed in.
はい。しばらく人よけをしてほしいとクオンジ様からことづかっています。
Yeah, because of running away, you idiot. Correct, Miss Konji told me to make sure nobody enters. Alice said that? Soju was suspicious of why Alice would have said that. He could understand being kept out of how Aoko was being treated, or a condition had worsened, but this seemed different. Besides, Aoko herself said the treatment had finished.
人がいいのですね、シスターユイカは。そんな方便をしなくてもいいんですよ。
No, no, Sister Yuika. There's no need to be so good.
はっきり言ってあげればいい。今から病室に行っても無駄です。と。
Why not just tell him the truth, that the room is actually empty?
青子はとっくに出発しているんですから。
Aoko left some time ago.
エイリ神父。
But Father Eri. The priest began to explain everything from the pew he still sat in, about the things he and Soju had spoken about, and why he, a stranger, would be so concerned about a person he knew nothing about. It all became clear to Sojiro.
初めからそのつもりだったんですね。
This was your plan all along. Sojiro's voice was full of anger, but Father Eri did not flinch.
申し訳ありません。青子にあなたの保護を頼まれたもので。
My apologies. Aoko requested I'll look it up
彼女
for
の
you.
準備が整うまでの時間稼ぎでしたが、私があなたと話をしたかったのは事実ですよ。
Well, I didn't need to buy her time to prepare. I honestly did want to talk to you. The priest attempted to smooth things over was far from sincere. Sojiro grit his teeth to control his rage. I did not stop the Aoko and Alice from heading towards a sudden death, because both the nun and the priest were of the same milk as the mages. As such, he understood Aoko's decision, and the priest understood Aoko too. Even if he did have the power to stop her, he would not have. Now, Aoko Ozaki he knew was not about to hide away in a church and lick her wounds.
アリスは
Where's Alice?
青子と行きましたよ。あれから30分は過ぎていますね。
With Aoko. They left about 30 minutes ago. Father Eri even went so far to divulge the time. 30 minutes ago, the same time the priest read his head. It would not even take half that long to get to the school from here. And then another 10 minutes or less to get to Misaki's old high school building from there. Soju returned to the entrance of the chapel. However...
待ちなさい。どこへ行くつもりですか？
Stop, where do you think you go? The sound of a voice stopped him in his tracks. An unseen pressure locked him in place. Her admonition... admonition? Her admonition seemed to carry a spellbinding power, stopping the foolhardy boy where he stood.
あなたは魔術師同士の争いを知りません。
You know nothing of mage battles.
何の助力にもならないばかりか。彼女たちの足かせになるだけです。
You're too weak to help. You'd be a liability.
彼女たちが命を落とすのは彼女たちの業によるもの。望むままに傷つけ合えばいいでしょう。
If they fall, it is their prerogative. Let them tear each other apart as they wish.
あなたのような何の咎もない若者が教示に立ち会うことはありません。
A young innocent bystander like you has no business taking part in such a calamity. She spoke with quiet anger. Her contempt was not directed at Aoko or Alice, though. Not at Aoko or Alice, though. But Sojo for being so eager to waste his life.
何かしら希望があるのなら私も止めはしません。
If there was a shred of hope, I wouldn't stop you.
ですがこの件は別です。あなたが言っても彼女たちが助かることはありません。
But there isn't. There was nothing you can do for them either. And she was right. It would be pointless for him to go. At the amusement park, he had been useless in the end. Now they face something even worse. He couldn't even imagine how he might contribute this time.
言っておきますが、青崎青子は祖父に護身術を教え込まれています。魔術以外でもあなたより腕は立つ。
No, I don't think the wolf is going to buy belly rubs. Maybe he can bribe him with meat, but that's about it. Listen carefully. Aoko is Aki's grandfather trained her to protect herself. Witchcraft aside, she's still tougher than you.
その彼女もあの使い魔が相手では勝負にならない。
Then again, I'm still suspecting that Sojo is hiding something himself. Just because Alice was like really wary of him when they first met, so... Even so, she still doesn't stand a chance against the beast of a familiar. Sojo's physical strength, his only edge meant nothing. If he went now, he would only get in the way. Yurika was correct. And yet...
でも行かないと。青子には返さなくちゃいけない借りがあります。
I have to go. How Aoko or debt I must repay. He spoke calmly but firmly. Joe almost moved, his sister frowned slightly. She felt bad for him, but her warning was for his own good. If he would not listen to reason, then she would have to make him sleep. She raised a finger of biting at Sojiro.
それを言うなら返したい借りがある。
You mean you want to repay a debt, Sojiro?
それとシスターユイカ、教会内での魔術は控えてくださいね。
Incidentally, says Yuiga, please refrain from using magecraft within the church.
使うのなら秘跡に留めてもらわないと私の査定に響きます。
At least save it for religious ceremonies, or it will infect my investigation.
まったくおとなしそうに見えて律香君より短気なんですから、あなたは。
Dear Lord, give me strength. You seem so quiet, Sojiro, but you're more short-tempered than Mitsuka.
エイリ神父、しかし
If I may, Father Barry.
行かせてあげればいいじゃないですか。それともあなたはやはり青子たちに退場してほしいと？
I see no harm in letting him go. Or would you rather see Toko destroy Aoko and Alice?
その問題と彼の献身は別の話です。
That issue is separate from this suicidal devotion.
改めなさい、しずきさん。あなたが言っても何もできはしないのですから。
Reconsider, Mrs. Suzuki. Even if you go, there's nothing you can do for them. The truth of the statement could Sojiro deep, but despite everything that was being said, his mind was made up. It had always been, even if he was not certain, he would at least not hesitate. He had always followed with instincts to the end, no matter what it took him.
分かっています。
I know,
でも行かないと。
but I'm still going.
ここにいたら本当に何もできない。
If I stay here, I really am powerless. His heart burned in his chest. While he listened to the priest talk, he could only think of seeing Aoko. He was not worried, he did not want to help. He just wanted to see her. He would figure out what came next once he got there.
ほら、献身なんて考え自体が間違ってるんです。
See, he isn't suicidal.
足を引っ張ると言いますが、どの道青子たちに勝ち目はないんでしょう？
You say he'll get in the way, but Aoko and Alice have no chance of winning anyway,
な
correct?
ら彼がマイナスになってもいいじゃないですか。どうせ破産するなら豪快に破産すれば。
So what's the problem? Better to burn out in a blaze of glory.
神父、
Father,
ほら宗十郎君、言って言って。
what are you waiting for, Sojiro? Get going.
シスター、今のあなたの返事で心が折れましたか
Suicidal,
ら。
stupid, completely different. Nah, don't worry about it. Your responses move, Sister
足
Eureka.
動くでしょ？
And now you can move your legs, right? As soon as the priest pointed that out to Sojiro, he could move again. The pressure weighing down on his shoulder was lifted, along with the fear in his heart. Could he help? Would he expose Aoko and Alice to more danger? Also, his job had vanished.
行きます。縁が残っていればまた。
I'm heading out then. With any luck, we'll meet again.
はい。なんであれ、後悔のない一日を。
Good. Whatever happens, no regrets. And with that, Sojiro began to run, as Father Avery watched with a look of satisfaction. The priest knew if he could not persuade Aoko, he could not convince Sojiro either. He watched the impetuous boy run away. As the blind nun listened to the footsteps fading through the distance. Yurika was different from Sojiro and the priest. While she showed no mercy to corruption of self-righteousness, she embraced benevolence to the innocent. Such an ordinary boy with his life ahead of him, and yet he chose to follow heretics into hell.
最悪ですね、エイリ神父。
How can you live with yourself, Father Barry?
分別のつかない子供を導くのが責任のある大人だと思いましたが。
I thought responsible adults guided wayward children. She made no effort to hide her biting disapproval. It was simply her way of showing concern for the boy. Father Avery shrugged.
だから、いろいろと間違えていますよ、シスターユイカ。
You're mistaken about a few things, Sister Eureka.
責任のある大人なんて言葉自体がおかしい。
Your use of the term responsible adult for a start.
何が起きても責任を取る。それが正しい大人というものです。
An adult is someone who takes responsibility no matter what. The rest went unspoken. It didn't matter to him which of them died. With a warm, courtly smile, the priest corrected the nun's misunderstanding. Yorokobe Shonen. Yeah, okay, part 2. Well, part 2 is going to be for tomorrow. If that's not the last chapter, then I don't know, by the way. I'm planning on finishing this tomorrow. If that's not the finale, then I guess we go on all the time. I'm just assuming that it's the last chapter, so who knows? Maybe it isn't. Just about 2 hours. But that's going to be it for today. I will be continuing this tomorrow. As I said, hopefully that's the finale. Though it feels like we're going to get an entire fight sequence, so it might just be a long one, and then we'll probably still get some sort of conclusion, I imagine. So yeah, maybe there is still a little bit more to this. Guess we'll see. Guess we'll see. But that'll be it for today, and yeah, catch you all next time when I continue this.